Just sit right back, let me tell you how to play Francis Drake the board game. You need 3 or 4, no more than 5 friends to entertain. An hour and a half to 2 full hours is how long it will take. As you navigate your voyages, there's 3 rounds per game. Yes, it's 3 rounds per game. To win this game, you plunder from the Gulf of Mexico. But before you sail, you'll shop along a one-way street, you know. Yes, there's only one way you can go. But keep in mind, when you return, you have to shuffle the tiles of the governor, the admiral too, Francis Drake and the queen, the informer man. There's guns and goods, supplies and crew. It's the Francis Drake game. Never had one lesson. So I tell you guys about Nostradamus and the Antichrist.
Oh, jeez.
No, I can prove that Gilligan was Satan.
You mean the campy, fun-loving, coconut-eating Gilligan?
No, Senator Gilligan. Yeah, I'm talking about the show.
Ordinarily, I'd say that you were the Antichrist, but I gotta hear this.
Well, each of the characters represents one of the 7 deadly sins. Like, you know, the skipper, he would be gluttony. Oh, and Ginger, well, she's lust.
Oh, and Mr. Howell would be greed.
A call. And Mrs. Howell would be sloth.
What about the professor?
He would be pride. You know, he's always bragging about his inventions with the coconuts.
Amazing.
Yep, and Mary Ann.
She's nudity.
That's definitely not one of the sins.
Yeah, tell that to my wife.
Well, hate was shared by all of them. And Mary Ann, she was envy for, for Ginger.
What about Gilligan himself?
Gilligan was Satan. Who kept him on the island? And lest we forget, he always wore that red shirt. So, what do you think?
I think you got way too much time on your hands.
Yeah, I'm working on a theory where Bob Saget is the second...
Ah, Full House! Talk about the game a minute. So we just got through playing a round of Francis Drake, and now we're going to go over what we think about it in terms of our 4 categories. So we always start with the betrayer first. Components. What do you think about the components?
There is a lot of components.
Mm-hmm.
As far as many as there are, they're well done. So I'll give it a an 8.
Pretty solid. Okay.
I'll give it 8 just because everything's really it's not too confusing. There's a lot of pieces. There's a lot of pieces, but it's not. You don't have a lot of the same. At least the barrels look like barrels,
Mm-hmm.
not brown blocks like most games probably would have done.
Right.
Actually, I would go with a 9 because of that.
See, you've already
Because
talked
of the
yourself
barrels.
up. There you
The
go.
The barrels.
The one element.
Well, there's a lot more to it, but I mean, I'll
That's
give it a
right,
9.
folks. The guys that made this game went with the barrels instead of a card or a little brown block. Smart move. You
I'll
sold
give it a
somebody
9.
on it just because of
Yeah.
that.
I'm going to also go high. I think I'm going to go with a 9 also, because the amount of components always sells me. I'm a sucker for stuff in a box. If it weighs more than 2 pounds, I'll probably buy it on the spot. So, yeah, I'm going to go with a hefty 9.
I'm going to go ahead with a 9.5. There's a ton of components. They're all really well made. They're good quality. They're not gonna get tattered or worn out looking. And like Mikey said, they're different enough that you can keep up with it, even though there's a ton going on. There's different sizes, different textures, different, you've got glass beads, you've got plastic items, you got cubes, discs, you name it. So, and the other thing, which we can't really show real well right here, but just the packaging itself, that all is included in components to me. But the way this game packs up and gets put up is really nice. So it makes it, all that there is to set up, it makes it as easy as it can to get all these pieces and parts out. So I'll go 9.5 on it.
I think I'm gonna go 10 on components. Whenever you first showed me this game, and you told me it was a $50 game, which is what you're going to pay for a good quality board game nowadays. But a lot of games, even for $50, you're not going to get nearly this amount of components for the game.
That's true.
And they're not going to be this pretty, and they're not going to be this well made.
And the little treasure.
The little treasure chest.
Yeah.
Whenever they were making this game, the guys, I've got a great idea.
Yeah.
We're going to go treasure chest, and that's going to be a neat little element. And that is a cool element that makes it stand out from other stuff. And I really like the fact that ships look like ships, and coins look like coins, barrels look like barrels, and all this stuff. It's the aesthetic quality of all the different components. I mean, a lot of them look like different things, and that's really nice. And let me just say, as far as the biggest component, that is a hell of a big game board.
Board.
That is a monster board, and it takes up almost more room than we have on the little game table here. We almost had to pull out the big table, but it would have been well worth it. There's a lot of stuff to this game.
You know what? You sold me. I want a 10. I want 10.
This was a 9.5 or a 10 for components,
Yeah, I agree. There's not much more they could do that they didn't do.
Yep.
My one little nitpick, because we have to pick something out, is these little ships aren't real stable. But obviously, I'm really reaching if that's the worst thing I can come up with.
You have a second nitpick in the fact that the colors are blue.
Oh, yeah, we didn't want to get
That's
into
why
all
I didn't give it a 10, because of the colors.
Well, if I had to nitpick anything, it's the fact that there are so many components in a limited space like this. I mean, you don't really have room for all the stuff. You need a big area to play this game. And whenever you're working on one little corner here, I mean, you can easily, but I would rather almost have too much stuff than not enough
not
stuff
a coffee table
for
game
sure.
at all.
No.
Right. Yep.
All right, so that sums up our thoughts on the components. Let's talk about theme.
Pirates, but still.
Yeah,
it is pirates.
Francis
What?
Drake's the biggest pirate in the world. We're robbing people's towns. Just because they don't have an eye patch.
Sponsored by the crown, but
Robbie
he's still a pirate.
I like the theme.
Not zombies, but it's pirates.
I do like the theme. I'll give it a 9. I like the theme. I like the way they did everything. The turns.
Yeah.
Each turn has a separate.
Yeah.
So that changes the theme of what you're playing.
It does.
So I do like that a 9.
I love historical board games, but this is not really a historical board game. If I want to be nitpicky, they call it Francis Drake, and they throw his name on there along with the Queen, but it could be anybody in the Caribbean in the 1600s or 1500s, I guess. So I'm going to dock it a little bit for that, but I do love historical games. If they'd added more historical elements into it, I probably would have sold me more. But I'm gonna give it a 9 for the theme.
Wow. So I'm going to give it a 7, and I think I probably liked it. I thought more than you all did as far as the theme goes, but I'm kind of with Chris as far as, you know, that's called Francis Drake, and yes, there's a Francis Drake tile that's part of it. There's the Queen that can sponsor you and help you out and that sort of stuff, but you know, to me, they just kind of picked a historical figure and threw it on there. But I still really like the game, and I like the mechanics and everything else. But for me, the theme is probably the lowest thing on it, but still pretty high at a 7.
I think theme-wise, I would actually go an 8.5 or a 9, because I'm not considering it, you know, like Drake or whatever, but I'm considering it a pirate game. Mm-hmm. And really, as far as all the elements I would want in a pirate game, where you can build a crew, you've got, you know, you're managing resources, you're going in a tavern to hire your guys. There's so many components to build up your crew and your weapons and your ship and everything. And then you are getting to go in and attack forts or cities or, you know, other ships. And then you're also bartering for trade goods or whatever. And then you're also competing with other players. The theme, it's really a competitive pirate themed game. And I think they did it really well. So I'm going to go 8.5 or 9 for that.
Well, give me one of them.
I'm going to go a 9, actually. I thought they did really well with the pirate theme.
All right. So our theme got a high rating as well. So next is gameplay. What you think, Trader?
8.
Because
it was
it's
smooth.
neat.
It was smooth, but there's bumps. It's a little confusion here and there.
Yeah.
It can easily get lost, especially if you forget just to put one little piece out like you did.
Right.
And you were putting.
Yeah.
And again, it's going to come to the color scheme to that, because I give it 8.
Alright, I'm gonna go. This is where I'm gonna get harsh. I'm gonna give it a 7 because it was almost like they tried to put too many mechanics in one game. It could be 2 games. This could be 2 separate games and still function, because there's so many. There's the drafting mechanic. There's the competitive getting the stuff mechanic. There's the different resources. I mean, there's just so many ways. It's overwhelming. Even when I've played this game before, it's still overwhelming. This is only for serious board gamers, not for your. So my mom's not gonna play this game. She would probably walk away from board games forever if I tried to make her play this game. So I'm gonna have it's gonna be a 7 on the gameplay.
I'm gonna give it an 8, and kind of along the same lines as Chris. I like this game, and I will play it again, and I'll recommend it regularly. But it is a little fiddly. There's a lot to keep up with, and as demonstrated in the playthrough, if you watch it, I made several mistakes, and if you make a mistake, then you really hurt yourself for that round, you know. So this is more for your serious gamer. I've heard some people refer to this as a mid-weight game. I think it's definitely a heavier weight game, which I like, but I've played it through half a dozen times now so far, and it seems like I forget something every time I play it. So there is an awful lot going on, and you can easily miss something, and that's going to mess you up. So ultimately that's on the player. But when you play a lot of different games and there's a lot of different rules, and you're trying to remember from each game to each game, this can get kind of tough because there's an awful lot going on.
Gameplay, I'm going to go an 8. I really like the gameplay. I think it is very involved, and I would rank this a middle to heavyweight game as far as just picking up and playing. I think there is I don't know if there's really a steep learning curve, because I mean, I'd never played. This is the first time I played this game, And I think after the first round, I knew how everything worked.
Mm-hmm.
It's building up the strategy to play this game well. And I think just because a game has a high level of strategy, I don't think that's really affecting the game. I mean, I like the gameplay. I like it that way. If you want a game where you can really work on a strategy and hone it, that's what this game is. There's a learning curve to it, but definitely, like I said, once you pick up the game, then it's just you've got to keep up with it.
Right.
You've got to be very attentive,
Yeah, you got to know. You got to have your strategy in mind and keep that in every move you make. You got to be thinking back to your overall strategy.
Well, and the thing is, there's about 4 or 5 different ways to accumulate points in this, and you can't just focus on 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. You've got to kind of keep an eye on all of them to do well at the game.
I agree. Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree.
Mm-hmm. And our last category is replayability.
This is going to be low for me. And the reason it's going to be low for me is because this is a high mid level, and I'll never play this unless someone that knows what they're doing wants to play it. So it's going to be a 4 for replay. I'm never going to play this. I'll never pick it up again unless we're just, for some reason, one of you guys wanted to play it again, and you, more than me, agree to play it, I'll play it. Otherwise, I'll never play this again. Just because it's that point of mid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you need time to play this.
Yeah,
I mean, setting up alone
takes some
20
time.
minutes at least.
Yeah.
Because all the pieces and.
I don't think that's too unusual anymore, but you have a valid point.
But there are higher games. I understand there are a lot tougher games than this. Like this is a mid, but still, it's just
it's a heavy mid.
For me personally, it's not.
Yeah, I agree, and you have to have a group of people who are gamers to play this and want to commit 3 hours plus to it. So I agree. I'm going to give it. What did you say?
A 4.
A 4. I'm going to give it a 6. But that's because I like heavy games. But I only like them when I'm playing with other heavy gamers. Mm-hmm. So this is not something that would come out a lot on for myself with my family. I'd have to search for people to play this with. Mm-hmm. So that's why I went so low.
I'm gonna give it a 7, and that is stretching a little bit just because I happen to really like this game. But I think what Chris and Micah said, they make valid points. This is not something that you're gonna pull out on a whim. This is something where you're gonna have a game night set aside, and this is what I want to play, and hopefully whoever's hosting is already going to have it set up as much as they can and that sort of thing. So yeah, that is the one thing that's going to hurt this game a little bit is you're probably, after you play through it, even if you like it, you're probably not going to want to sit down and start again right away.
Let's keep going.
So for me, a 7, and that's kind of a borderline 7.
If you do set up this game, make sure to watch our setup video.
Yeah,
that's right.
I'm going to go 7 on replayability also. I would play it again. I think it is a heavy, medium game, and there's a lot to take in. And even though I would like to work on different strategies for this game, it is a lot of strategy work. If I were going to play a power game, I would prefer Libertalia. Or something like that. Yeah. That's got strategy also, and for some reason I enjoyed it more. This game, it is a lot to keep up with, and I would play it again if, much like you, if somebody brought it up and wanted to play, I'd play it. It's not one of those games though. I just
it's like the lobster dinner. You're not going to eat lobster every night.
Yeah.
You break it out on special occasions.
Yeah, and I would play it again on a special occasion, but it's not a game I'm going to be like, hey, we get some time this weekend, let's play Drake. I liked it, but not enough where I'm just going to crave it.
Sure. Okay.
All right, so there you have it. We've got our 4 opinions on the 4 different elements, and we'll add those up to the back computer and put it right here. Alright, if you enjoyed that, make sure to watch the setup video and the playthrough videos, and next week we'll have another game for you. And thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.